Oh, that's working.
Yep.
Oh,
hello, smugglers. Welcome to another episode of the Budgy Smugglers podcast.
Smugglers. How's your week been, Dools?
It's been good. I'm Jeremy Dooley, comedian, joined by Stephen Bradshaw, also comedian.
Also comedian. That's maybe the best title I've ever been given. Also comedian. What'd you get up to in the last week, Dools?
Tell you what, it's been a bit of a... It's hard after the comedy festival.
It is hard. I've been in a bit of a... I'm just trying to get back into a routine. It's been very difficult. I'm very tired, and I feel bad about complaining being tired, seeing as you have a 7-week-old now.
9. Damn.
9? Oh,
as
that
of
went
yesterday.
quick.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I am absolutely wrecked. It was an interesting... so after the festival ended, I didn't really have the last week off. I sort of did some media stuff, had a couple of gigs, and this week I've got off. I got 10 days off, which is huge.
That is huge.
Yeah.
No gigs in the next 10 days.
No gigs till Thursday of next week when I then do a run of 6 gigs in a couple of days across New South Wales.
Okay. All right. So you're gearing up for a big run, which is nice. Yes, I took last week off from comedy, which was nice, just to sort of refresh and whatnot. So kind of getting a little bit itchy. Got some new stuff I'm working on that I want to get out and try out. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, had a nice, pretty relaxing week. A lot of admin. I forgot. Probably my least favorite thing about MICF is the wrap-up admin. There's so much admin.
Yeah, I think that's where a producer comes in handy, because it's someone else doing that for you.
Sure, as opposed to producing.
Yeah.
So I had 52 shows to wrap up, which was yuck, but we got there in the end, which is good.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah. How have you filled your week without gigs? What do you...
Slept a lot. The long weekend, there was a lot of footy. So Monday I slept until about 6 p.m, I think, which was great. And then we did the pod on Tuesday. Wednesday, admin. Thursday, I had box seats for the Anzac Eve game.
Huge. How'd you score that? What was your connect there?
Just a mate of mine. Got a little box. He's a big Melbourne fan, so he scored that. Invited a few of his mates, so that's good. I mean, and that's free food. That's steak in the box, which was all. Normally it's like finger food and that kind of thing. There was like a corn fritter with like a smoked salmon corn fritter with like cream cheese. It was bougie as
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Old money, Melbourne.
A lot more people looking at cheese boards than they were. Well, I mean, they had a good game. They won in the end. But so there was that, and obviously free booze. Then Friday, I went up to Geelong to watch Anzac Day with some friends. So more sport. Then Saturday, I went to the footy to watch the Saints get smashed by Brisbane. So it was just filled up my week with sporting events. Yeah.
Wild.
I know. So now I'm just trying to get back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you fill up your week?
I mean, I was still sort of, just easing out of things. So randomly I found myself singing a Midnight Oil song with a presenter on ABC radio on Tuesday night.
What song? Which song?
A song called US Forces.
Yep.
And I don't know how that happened, but it did. It happened.
Nice.
So that was fun. And then, had a couple of shows. And it's weird after festival because you're so used to doing, 45-minute sets or whatever to then do, okay, you've got 10 minutes and it feels like I got the light after 30 seconds. It's pretty wild. But it was great. A lot of people came out to that show, and it was a hot audience.
Which is pretty great for the week after the festival, which is traditionally everyone's comedied out. But maybe it's the late stragglers that were like, shit, we missed the comedy festival, and then they see this show. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it was a little bit of that. I think it was a Thursday night as well. So, the Friday was going to be the day off. So people were out and about.
True.
So that was good. And then dropped into an open mic. And then when I got there, I remembered, I'm not working on any. I've got one new bit that's already fully formed.
Yep.
So I just got on stage and I was on first, which normally I'm all for. But sometimes at an open mic, you want to wait till a little bit, till midway through when there's people there.
It is a little bit of a tricky one. You've run rooms. I run rooms. We go and do a lot of rooms, but it is a blessing and a curse. It's mostly a curse for the performer being the first one on, but it is sort of the room runner saying, hey, I need to start this gig off good. Can you go on first? You're kind of, a bulletproof vest for the rest of the show, and you soak up all those early bullets if it's not a hot crowd, and then everyone else can kind of.
You'd think that. So look, when I have free choice from whoever's running the show on where I can be placed in a lineup. If it's a lineup show, it's either if I'm not emceeing, because I do MC a lot, like yourself, I either want to be last and close the show because then I get more stage time, or I want to go first because it is the hardest.
Yep.
And you can set the tone for the rest of the room in theory.
Yes.
Normally, if you go first, whoever's on second has a 1 minute grace period.
Yep.
And if they don't win the audience and keep the momentum there, woof. And that happened at this gig. I got off stage. I'm like, that was a hot audience.
Yeah.
Like it's a gig where the audience is quite erratic. It's either totally empty or totally full, and it was more on the full side.
Right.
And they were great. They were picking up everything that I was putting down. It was really, really good. And I was just riffing for the vast majority of it. And yeah, the actor who came on second got on there and was like, whoa, man, he ate a bag. I think very new though, so you got to,
of course.
It's always a challenge, especially if you're brand new following someone who's done quite well. Yep. That's oftentimes harder than following someone who's bombed.
Yes, no, that is generally harder, I would say. Yeah,
I'd rather follow a bomb than a crush.
Yeah. Do you address the bomb? Sometimes you have to, sometimes you can't because it's too it comes across as mean-spirited.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah. It depends. Sometimes you have to because everyone knows that it was bad and everyone's feeling it, and sometimes you have to address it. And if I know the comedian, if I'm good friends with them, then I'll do a little bit of light roasting. But I remember once following a comedian at a gig, and it was quite a rowdy gig.
Yeah.
Would have been, I don't know, 110 people in the room. Like it was the venue was slamming. Like it was at capacity. And this comedian wasn't doing so well, and then someone got a little bit lippy in the audience, and this comedian didn't handle that very well either. Tried to, but instead of either like shutting it down or incorporating it, was just like, what'd you say? What'd you say?
Oh, that's
say it again. What'd you say? And it was just like awkward to the level of a million. And so then they bombed, and I had to go on, and I was just like, whoa, that was intense, wasn't it? And audience bang on side, just because you acknowledge it.
One of my favorites was I was a comedian. I went on first. There was 3 acts. I did quite well, and then someone went on, and they didn't start. They were headlining. They'd booked themselves to headline, of course.
Great,
and,
love that.
Yeah, and sort of very early on misheard what he thought was a heckle, and fucking snapped. Just went, "What you fucking say, cunt?" And he's like, "Oh no, I was just saying that was funny." He's like, "Oh, all right." Just pulled any energy out of the room. I was at the bar getting a beer, and then one of the audience goes, "When?" They go, "When do you get back on?" And I'm like, "I'm done." He's like, "I think you might need to go back on." It was just one of those things. It is tough dealing with a heckle, particularly early days. I remember the first time I really copped it was at the Footscray Hotel, Footsloose, and it was just a really drunk guy. He wasn't being abusive or anything. He was just trying to chat, but he was so drunk. When I've had hecklers in the past, you got a little quip or you move on or you go whatever. But he was so drunk, it was just like, it was just like a blur. I think I was last on. They were drunk when they got there. It was a 2-hour-long show. And he just couldn't get words out. And I just like a fish out of water. I'm just flopping because there's nothing I can do. I could have just gone, yeah, good one, mate, and just kept going with my jokes, but I tried to do something with it, and it just, you can't, because you can't put a coherent...
It's hard, especially when they're so drunk. Like, have you ever had someone who's so drunk they can't sit? properly in there. They're like sliding out of their chair. It's weird.
Not that bad.
When they're that drunk and like to that point, they're not making any sense with what they say. So there's nothing that you can actually say on stage that's going to shut them up because they're so obliterated. So that's when, you know, I remember the first time I think I played the Comedy Lounge in Perth, and probably my favourite venue in the country. Like it is a fantastic venue, purpose-built for comedy. And it was myself. There was a local act on who I can't remember, but the headliners were Jack Barrett and Ivana Aristogeta.
Ooh, good lineup.
It was a hot lineup. And I got on first, and there was this table. So you can sit right up to the stage, and sort of like the front part of the stage is like, you know, there's tables, it's cabaret seating right at the front. And there were these two drunk chicks. They would have been mid-20s. Right of stage.
Ugh, Perth drunk chicks.
And yeah, exactly. And the table was just totally filled with empty, I want to say espresso martini glasses. Like they were that type of drunk. And I put them in their place pretty quickly because I was like, well, this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
And it was this weird, delicate thing because it was my first time playing there. So I had to also like show that I'm funny.
Yeah.
But also I needed to like jump on a grenade for everyone else on the lineup.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Did that, shut them up and incorporated them. It was funny. It was great. Next act came on. Next act was they give like almost like an open micer, like a 4-minute spot there to sort of, you know, give them experience and stage
Love
time. That. And this poor comedian got eaten alive by that. These chicks weren't saying anything at the comedian. They were just like, wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
The comedian couldn't handle it, tried to, didn't work. So that made it worse.
Yes, it does.
Jacques Barrett gets on stage and I love Jacques. I think he's one of Australia's best comedians. Agreed. Very underrated comedian.
Super
like
underrated.
Mainstream wise, but all comedians love JB. And he's doing his set. Halfway through his set, he just turns and looks at them and just walks away from the microphone. And it's a big stage. And so it's like a 10-meter walk to them and just talks to them privately, basically telling them to shut the fuck up. And so then they shut up. And he just goes back on and just like delivers the punchline to the bit. Like he left it just before the punchline, walks over and then he said, huge pop. It was great. Second half, so then they have their break sort of midway through the show. Second half comes on and, you know, by this stage they'd been warned, these two drunk women, you know, because they'd been very involved by this point. The MC, who I think was Jared Goundry, I can't remember exactly, but like, you know, they wouldn't shut up. Eventually they shut up and it's agreed, all right, you're going to be quiet for the whole main act. No more chances. And like, no, we're good. But they were too hammered to realise just how loud they were.
Yeah, of course.
Ivana Aristogeta comes out as the, you know, the final headline act. And as soon as they said something, he's like, no!
That's a good Ivan impression.
And then security come out and like these chicks turns. They went from being like, yeah, we'll be quiet to like, nah, you fucking, this is our show too. Like we fucking paid our fucking tickets. We spent hundreds of dollars on fucking cocktails. I tell you, 140 people wanted to bleed these two women.
Yes.
It was so intense. I've never seen an audience cheer louder for an ejection than Ivan. Didn't take any shit, just no.
I love that. There's no better feeling as a comedian than when the whole audience is turned against. Well, you posted something very recently. Check that out at Jeremy Dooley Official. But there's no better feeling when there's hecklers and then, you know, the crowd's like, but those hecklers or they're just it's normally drunk, chatty people and they're ruining the night for everyone else. And then you come in with whatever it is, a banger, you put them in their place, whatever, and then getting that big cheer or just like, you know, we've all got a few jokes or whatever, depending on the situation. But there's no better than that huge laugh or that huge cheer when you put that person that everyone's turned against in their place. Yeah,
and that one you mentioned. So at the comedy festival, one of my openers had that. Like it was 2 or 3. There was a big group of probably about a dozen, and 2 or 3 of them were hammered and just like stepping on all their punchlines, like asking questions, and it's not a conversation. And the audience, by the time I got on stage, like I could feel like the anger in the room. So I just had to call them like, if you don't shut the fuck up, get the fuck out. And what I said, not even funny.
No.
Acknowledge that wasn't a funny thing, but I needed to like come down hard at the start, and everyone in the room, and it was a packed house, just like, and eventually they did leave. All the friends in that group stayed and were so apologetic afterwards, all bought merch. Thank you so much. Hello to the legends in Lara.
That's so good. My favourite type is the Friday night gig where everyone's come out, usually tradies after work, and then just one of them, the younger one, the apprentice, gets a bit lippy and can't handle his piss as well as the other ones. And then you just light them up, and then, because they're annoying everyone anyway, and then the fact that you're shitting on an apprentice, their friends love it, and you just get that huge pop is one of my all-time favourite, like putting a heckler in their place type of situation. You can't lose against an apprentice when you're on stage.
No.
So easy.
Yeah, especially on a Friday night as well, because that's generally the drunkest audience is a Friday night audience.
I love it.
Love that.
I tell you what else I love, Dools. All these bloody comments we got this week.
This is just a selection, so all the comments come from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, in person at gigs as well. Just make sure we get your name properly. All right, kick things off. So about comedy, Lou K92. Do you think that's a he or a she?
Liu Kang. I feel like it's Liu K92 is a reference to Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat. So Asian male.
Yep. Okay. What do you do now that the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is done?
What a great question. Who did someone drop that in the DMs?
DM'd me on TikTok.
On the TikTok?
Which I didn't realize was a thing. And then I was like, whoa, there's a lot of messages in here of like, hey, look at this stand-up clip. Look at this stand-up clip. Hey, I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Showing our age, aren't we?
Yeah. So thank you, Lou K, for that. What do you do now that the festival's done?
Me, I am obviously there's this little admin sort of rest period, but for me it's all new material now. So planning on doing my first hour in October. So now it's just about kind of pulling together a show that I'll be proud of, which is going to be a lot of work, but very excited for it. And then it's just taking all these little bits from the new shows out to the open mics, and just every single night, just does this work? Does this work? What works? What doesn't? So a lot of writing, and then probably should have done this before the festival, but booking sort of a lot of shows. I know we've got a show in Phillip Island together soon. I got another one in Heathcote coming up. Obviously, there's a few shows I need to get up and running for the Geelong Comedy Festival, but there's a lot of other shows I need to book in, contact the venues, book in the comedians, that kind of stuff. So it's that and writing. But it feels like a lot of work that I could have done earlier.
Yep.
But that's the life of a comedian.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. It feels like I could have done these earlier.
Yes.
Is your show, that's exciting, dude.
Yeah.
Is it going to be all of your like best old bits and new bits mashed into one, or all new stuff?
I think it'll be, I would say 20% old stuff that works to get everyone on side, and then mostly new stuff as well. So within a theme.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's the tricky part, because I haven't, before when I've done longer sets, 40 minutes or whatever, it's just been, here's my best jokes and everyone laugh. And that works great. I enjoy that. But to sort of have something with a bit more of a thread through it, with a sort of a 3-act structure-y type show, that's quite exciting. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. It is hard as well when you're crafting a show versus doing spots, even longer spots, because some stuff that works in a club may not necessarily fit into a show format if you're doing like, an hour. So that can be quite the juggling act, is trying to find the right space to test out those bits where maybe it requires a bit more tension.
Exactly. And you've got bits, particularly your last 2 shows that you talk about, which go a little bit, they're not really comedy. It's sort of telling personal stories about your life that fits into the theme of the show. they're things that might be 5 or 10 minute long stories that are very important to your show. But if you did that at a stand-up comedy club, everyone would be like, tell a joke, motherfucker. Why are you being so sad?
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
here for a good time. So.
Absolutely. And it's one of the challenging things. I think back to my show last year, where the first time I told that story was opening night.
Yeah.
And so then it's this weird thing of like you're having to practice this story and really figure out this story and figure out the beats without an audience there to then hopefully that works with an audience. So it becomes something really different. And, you know, the thing when the further away you get from the laugh, the bigger the laugh has to be for that tension. So I remember opening night, I was freaking out because I'm like, I don't know if the pop is going to be it ended up being worth it, but it was like a huge like, ugh. And even this year, you know, there's some bit I've had people message like that. I'm still laughing at that bit. And it was, I mean, I didn't think the pop was that intense, but you just never know.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited for it though. At first I was nervous, but now I'm kind of lay in bed at night and think, oh, maybe I could do this, do that kind of stuff. So I love it. What about you? What are you doing now that MICF is done?
I've taken a tiny bit of break time, which is very difficult to do sometimes. But currently just off for this week and for the first half of next week. Then I'm on the road. So I'll be in New South Wales and I'll be hitting up. I've got a lot of gigs throughout different parts of Victoria in May. And then June, July, again, I'll be on the road. And then probably August, I'll put a line through the show Daddy Cool and start again for next year.
Yep. Exciting.
Yeah, you're always kind of writing stuff in the background. And so it's time to switch that part of the brain on.
Love it. We got some comments on the stall gift.
This one came from TikTok. Uncle Colin, welcome to country. That it's quite a mouthful. Is his first name Uncle?
I think so.
Yep.
Last name Country. Uncle Country for sure.
Yeah. His nickname would be Putrid if you're shortening that in the Australian way. Unk is what I'm talking about there. All right. Will Taylor is favourite this year. Who the hell's Will Taylor?
I don't know. Did he win? Because I think this comment was posted after the stall gift.
Yeah, okay. So maybe Will Taylor was favourite, but maybe shouldn't have been.
Maybe.
Thank you for that. Unless Uncle Colin, welcome to country, is getting ready for next year. And he's just like, you know, he knows what's happening. He's really into his athletics. And he's like, you know what, Will Taylor.
He's got it. We'll get into
he's tapering now.
Swear to God, we spoke about this last week, but I don't know who won, so it doesn't matter.
It was someone who had a good name, like
that's
Jack
right.
Evans or something like that.
You are correct.
Craig.
John Evans.
I was close.
He was very close.
Yeah. I mean, he might go by Jack. Maybe.
Maybe. But Will Taylor was nowhere near it.
No. All right. Craig, also on TikTok. Nice work, boys.
I love that comment.
You get it. Craig gets it.
Craig bloody gets it.
Craig gets it. If he was in America, his name would be Craig. We wouldn't know. Are you saying Craig or are you saying Greg? Because they're two different things.
Very true. You know, Jedhead 2112. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. We love you, Suze. Suze from Geelong.
Friend of the show.
She said about stall gift. The real question for me is why isn't stall pronounced Stallwell? If that's how it's spelt, why not spell it stall? So, I don't know. It seems like a typical question an American would ask, but we are pronouncing it Stallwell, but in an Aussie accent. I believe. You go stall.
Stall.
We just kind of skip over the E. I think. But it's a very, very, very good point.
Also interesting that an American is going to point that out when they've got a place called Arkansas and it's spelled Arkansas.
Yes.
And then they've got Kansas as well, which is the majority of Arkansas, and it's not pronounced Kansas.
Yeah. Then places like Paris, Texas confound me. Like
there's an Athens in Georgia as well.
There's Athens, Georgia.
Just be original, America.
I don't know what they're doing over there.
All right, into WrestleMania. This is just a selection. As always, it's just a selection. The Gavin Semple, who always has a lot to say when we post about anything to do with wrestling.
Sure it's DMs, multiple.
Get me on the show.
Get me on the show, but also like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I love Semple.
Do you want to read this one out?
Comedian of the Year. Cappin, which is what the kids say for lying.
What does that mean?
Lying. Lies. You think that was one of the worst WrestleManias in history. I won't take the yeet slander. So 2 points there. We open a clip saying what's been called potentially the worst WrestleMania. Not us. We didn't say it was the worst WrestleMania ever. Not once. Pay attention. Do your research. Watch the whole clip. Don't see what the media puts out there of our short clips. And then he did say, I won't take the yeet slander, which was a direct shot at you for saying yeet is lame.
Yep. I stand by that. I stand by both of those things. I've caught up. I've watched.
Oh, you've watched WrestleMania?
I've watched the Manias. So this is like day one. What a snooze fest until the main end. The last 5 minutes, entertaining.
Yep.
Up until that point, it's like, put me to sleep.
Yeah. There was one point where El Grande Americano, brought to you by Starbucks, did 450 backflip moonsault, which I thought was sick. But other than that, snooze fest until the final. So,
And then the next day, it was like, it was solid. And then the end was caca.
Yep. I agree. So
how are you saying? And you had 2 days. Like, even if they condensed the best bits into one show, it's half a show. It just wasn't that good.
I agree. I don't know. It wasn't the worst. We went through like the first 9. I remember WrestleMania 3 was pretty great. WrestleMania 6 is the greatest of all time. But a majority of them weren't great. There was some in the sort of mid-noughties that weren't great. It's not the worst one ever, but it didn't live up to the hype, I think.
The most memorable part of it, I think there's two. The ending of night one, memorable.
Yep.
And Stone Cold Steve Austin running over someone.
That was sick.
Very memorable.
That was very, very funny.
Okay, 1v4 and co.
Okay.
Does that, I wonder if they're into basketball. 1 versus 4 and company, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. He's on my one. I'm actually, I don't know, gender. Yeah, 1v4 and co. You get it. Yeet is corny. That's what little kids used to say on Vine.
There you go. You've got a supporter.
Yep. You get it.
It was a weird reference, Vine. That was a weird callback.
I'm not going to lie. When I first read it in my sort of sleepy haze, I think this was on Instagram. I thought they meant to say V-line and that's what kids used to say on V-line on regional trains in Victoria, which would have been a direct sort of clap back to the Gavin Semple, who half of his material is about trains and autism. So I thought that's where the dig was there.
You might be right. Might be a misspell. I tell you who didn't misspell anything was Coco Petrol sword emoji.
Yeah, he had two. They had 2 swords crossing over. So I don't know. Maybe it's Coco Petrol sword fight.
Yeah, maybe it could be. But he also on this point, I'd be interested to see these many people who are describing it as the worst WrestleMania in the history of manias, or is that something you made up?
Did you watch the show?
Yeah. Why would I make? Who would I make that up about? You've got very low ratings. You've got all your smart marks, your Dave Meltzers. Vince Russo went on a big rant. Eric Bischoff was not happy on his podcast. Jeff Jarrett laughed at it.
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh, he was turning over in his grave over that. The greatest heel manager of all time. So it was in the ether. It was mostly overreaction by Marks, but like a lot of people were very, very disappointed, and instant reactions were worst WrestleMania ever. It's not. That was out there. So Coco Petrol sword emoji, stick those swords up your ass and do some research.
Do you think their name is Coco Petrol?
I don't feel comfortable discussing it.
Yeah, neither do I. That's the comments for this week.
That's not even all of them.
No, there's a lot. And if you want your comment read out, leave a comment on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook,
YouTube.
In-person, YouTube.
In-person's always fun as well.
Yep, just,
Don't do it in the DMs, though, because I always miss those.
Yeah.
Do it on the page.
Especially if it's TikTok DMs, because I'm going to... the one from Luke92 was probably more appropriate at the last episode when they sent it.
Yeah, but thank you. We appreciate you, Luke Kang 92.
Who was did you have a character that you'd go to in Mortal Kombat? Were you a Mortal Kombat guy, were you a Street Fighter guy, or Killer Instinct even?
Mortal Kombat guy. Yep. MK3 was my favorite. Steel Arm Jacks.
Oh, nice.
Steel Arm Jacks I loved that. Liu Kang a lot, just because you just shoot the fireball non-stop. I was that, and as I got a bit older, I was a Tekken guy and Eddie Gordo.
Yeah.
What about you?
Look, I was probably more a Street Fighter sort of guy, but when I played Mortal Kombat, Liu Kang, and sometimes I'd go Goro as well.
Oh, yeah. Goro's great.
Yeah.
The arms.
Yep.
Very good. Should we talk about sport? We're half an hour in. We haven't touched on it yet.
Yeah.
I love that, which is very good because, to be honest, it hasn't been a huge week in sport, has it, Doos?
There's been a few things that have
There's a lot
happened.
to talk about.
We do have a lot to talk about. Kicking things off, Matilda's star, Caitlin Foord.
Whoa.
Foord with 2 O's as well.
Foord territory.
Kicked the sealer to send Liverpool into the Women's Champions League final against Barcelona. Is it Liverpool? I thought she played for Arsenal.
She probably did. It might be a typo. Look that up. I think it is. I think you're 100%.
It's definitely Arsenal.
All right. Well, whatever. She plays for Arsenal. I don't know why I'm updating it now. But yeah, she kicked the sealer. I don't know. I didn't watch any of the games, but it was one of those two-way games where they were down 2-1 and came up 4-1. It was her goal that got them over the top towards the end.
Huge result. You just don't understand how big the game is when you're in Australia, but it is huge. The women's game is huge, especially in England. So well done to Caitlin Foord.
Very good. Arsenal, didn't they win the Premier League?
Liverpool.
I thought maybe that's where I got stuffed up there.
You'll never walk alone.
Are you a Liverpool fan?
I'm a dirty slot for Liverpool.
Are you? I didn't know that. So you must have been pumped.
Oh, yeah, I've been very pumped.
Yeah, that's
very pumped.
What was the last Aussie that played for Liverpool?
Last Aussie that played for Liverpool was Bradley Smith.
Okay.
Who is a left back, I want to say. Plays in America now, I think. Bradley Smith was considered to be a everyone's like, oh, we're going to lose him to England. He probably wasn't at that level.
Yep.
But he played a few games. And then Harry Kuehl and
Harry Kuehl's one.
And Brad Jones.
Brad Jones,
goalkeeper.
I remember, yes.
Yeah, so he was a goalkeeper, played at Liverpool as well, but probably Jono was the best Australian to play for Liverpool. When did he play there? A long time ago.
Okay.
In the 80s. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, just a shout out. Congratulations to the Liverpudlians. But
Craig Johnston played in, here we go, 1981 to 1988.
Okay, that is a long time ago, but 7 years at the highest level for Craigie boy. Very well done. I tell you what else is well done. It's Australia's Jeremy Crawshaw was drafted in the 6th round by the Denver Broncos. Have a guess what position?
Half back. I don't know. All I know is quarterback and wide receiver.
No, you know this one. All the Aussies, every Aussie that ever plays in the NFL plays this.
Ruckman.
Close. He's a punter.
Oh, punter, of course.
Yes, yeah. He enjoyed a stellar college career with the University of Florida, apparently. But that's great. We've got a ton of Aussies in there, mostly punters, and Jordan Mailata, the greatest, the GOAT. Do you follow the NFL at all? I'm very not follow the NFL.
No, I don't, but I do think Jeremy Crawshaw, firstly, elite first name, and Crawshaw...
elite second half of the last name.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
He's a Bradshaw.
Yeah. Crawshaw sounds like a meal.
Yeah.
Can I get some of that Crawshaw?
You know what I mean? Like a Louisiana dish. like a oceanfront restaurant.
Yeah.
It comes in a pot, a stew basically.
Yep.
Which is great. So you didn't see the Shador Sanders stuff? You didn't hear about this?
I have. It's been hard to escape. I did see the slide, highly rated, and didn't go till the 5th round.
Yeah, something like that. Oh well, be better.
Yeah, personalities.
Tell you who is better. Our gal, your favourite, your top 2 Min Lees in Australian golf. It's Jee Lee.
Yep.
Finished 14th in the LPGA Chevron Championship. She was right in it until the last day. With then she hit a 2 over 74, missing out on a 5-way playoff, Dools. There was a 5-way playoff to finish off the LPGA Chevron Championship. Have you ever missed out on a 5-way?
Yes. It was a very boozy night out in Vegas.
Yes.
Don't know what happened there, but we'll say performance issues.
Yeah.
Maybe. So maybe similar to Jee Lee.
Yeah, happens to the best of us.
Yeah. In athletics, Aussies had 5 podium finishes and 2 national records in the opening round of the Diamond League series in China. They're describing it, whoever they are, as the golden age of Australian athletics.
The same people that described it as the worst WrestleMania ever. Hey, I got a question for you before we go into all the athletes, our golden age of athletes.
Yep.
Before Gout, had you ever heard of the Diamond League series?
If you'd said, what is the Diamond League, I would say it's to do with netball.
Yeah, I would have thought that's a netball competition for sure. All right. Who did well?
We've got Eleanor Patterson and Nicola Ollie Slagers.
Classic Aussie name.
Yeah, but she's got the lagers in there, so, loves a beer, Nicola. Silver and bronze in the high jump. Liam Adcock. No subtraction there. Silver in the long
He
jump.
He would miss out on a 5-way.
No. Rose Davies setting an Aussie 5,000 metre record. Abby Caldwell, silver. And
I think that was in long jump.
In the 5,000, yeah, that's huge. There'd be so much leftover sand if that was how long it needed to be. Abby Caldwell, silver, and the Aussie 1,000 metre record, Sarah Billings. Any relation to Jack?
Not if she's successful at something.
No, getting bronze. So huge result.
I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know how many events there are, but it sounds good.
How many competitors?
Was it just them? But the golden age of athletics, Australian athletics, and we couldn't get one gold, which is ironic. But
no.
I'm very happy for our Aussie
the
athletes.
Silver and bronze age.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you who did get gold. I was very excited for this. I didn't get to watch any of it. I'm going to go back and watch the highlights today. But Isabella Nichols and Jack Robinson, 2 Aussies, claim Bells Beach Pro titles this weekend in Bells Beach. Pretty big win. We kind of had backed in Ethan Ewing and our girl Molly Picklum. Guacamole. But 2 Aussies winning the Bells Beach Pro always makes it a happy Easter for me, Dools.
Yeah, do you know the last time 2 Aussies won?
2007, Mick Fanning and Stephanie Gilmore.
Cool, because I did not know that.
I made that up.
I
felt legit.
Confident.
It felt legit.
Yeah.
So Jack Robinson moves to 3rd in the rankings behind Ethan Ewing in 2nd, and Izzy moves to 4th behind our girl Molly Picklum in 3rd. So we're really tying up the top of the WSL rankings. I was looking at this earlier, and Molly Picklum, 3rd, hasn't won an event yet, which I think is a good sign because she's just consistently up. She's in the final 16. She's in the finals pretty much every single time. So I'm ready for we're going to have a Molly Picklum episode when she wins her first event of the year.
Absolutely. Smear ourselves in avocado, I think. What do you reckon, Jack, with a name like Jack Robinson, you'd have a pretty average nickname. Yeah,
it's Jacko or Robbo.
It'd be Jacko or Robbo. Or J-Rob, if he's wonder what his nickname is.
I'll look it up while you talk about the next thing.
Okay, the WNBL's new collective bargaining agreement sees the minimum wage for a WNBL player going from $23,000. I know comedians who earn more than that. And they're open micers, which would increase to $46,952 by 2028-29, equaling the pro rata rate for men's players on the minimum wage, which is good. Good result.
I think that's great.
The Aussie basketball league, the WNBL, is a very, very strong league. So, yeah, they deserve to be
played.
I agree.
I feel like it's very different from the NBA. When the WNBA says, we should be getting paid the same as the men, so on a pro rata basis per games, all that kind of stuff, they just don't quite bring in the same dollars as NBA in terms of a global top 5 sport in terms of eyeballs and stuff. WNBL, absolutely. Just pay them more, I say.
Yep.
At those rates.
Throw the wallet at them.
I love it. Anyway, surfer Jack Robinson is often referred to by the nickname Jack Robbo. Jack,
that's... you do better. Jack Robbo. That shit nickname.
These are a bit better. Some of his friends call him Jackie and sometimes referred to as Robbo, obviously. He also goes by the nicknames The Ripper. Jack the Ripper Robinson. That's like good. An MMA fight name.
That is good. And also, too, because, in the ocean, there's a rip there. Yes. So that's... that means that Jack is, there's an undercurrent wherever he is.
That one. I effing love this one. This one's, you're not going to see this one coming. He also goes by Jack the Vortex Shaman Robinson. Vortex Shaman.
That is
sick.
Top tier nickname. Go by that.
Yes, that is sick.
Wonder why he's called that.
But he's number one. I guess he's like a shaman of vortexes.
Yeah.
So is a vortex like a... Is
that like
surf move? Like a...
I don't know.
We should know more. But his number one nickname is Jack Robbo, which is...
shit nickname.
Yeah.
The Vortex Shaman.
Vortex
elite.
Shaman,
like, why would... You've got chalk and cheese there. Go with the cheese, mate. Go with the cheese. The Vortex Shaman. Aussies in the playoffs. All right, moving on. Luke Travers, is he still in there for Cleveland? And Jock Strap Landale, the Land Down Under, and Jack McVeigh.
Yeah, they're not doing much. Paddy Mills isn't getting time. I tell you who is getting a little bit of time. Benny Simmons, though.
Box Hill Benny.
Box Hill Benny's doing okay on the defensive end. He's scared to death on the offensive end at the moment, but he's locked up Nicola a couple of times. But yeah, there's not much to talk about for Aussies in the NBA playoffs. Are you excited? The Houston Rockets play shortly, so I'm sure you want to wrap this up.
I am excited. It's been a frustrating series from a Houston perspective. How the fuck does Draymond Green survive every single game without getting fouled? He is the dirtiest player I have ever seen in the NBA, and I've been watching NBA for a really long time. The amount that he gets away with is staggering.
Crazy. And it's not even concealing it. It's not sneaky. It's not, that was an accident. It's just barreling into people, taking out people's legs, tripping people over, pushing people, and they just not even a tech, nothing.
No, there was in the last
kicking
game.
People in the ball.
Yeah, always. Last game, he sprinted down the length of the court to yell at the ref and didn't even get teed up. Like, how is that okay? If Houston player does, like, Alperen Şengün looks at a player and gets a foul.
Yeah.
Amen Thompson, they're, like, handcuffing him because he's young.
Yep.
Draymond Green's getting away with murder.
Star Grace, but he's not even, I don't know how, I don't want to go into it.
What a flog. You're a flog.
You know who's not a flog?
The king himself. Is it time?
It's time
for the random Josh Giddey stat of the week.
This one felt like a double dip of a stat, combining two Josh Giddey stats of the week into one. This one's by Stat Mamba. But this one,
the Kobe Bryant of stats.
I'm not touching that one. The only players in Bulls history to have a season with 1,000 points, 500 assists, 500 rebounds are Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Josh Giddey. Well done, Josh. Here's a question for you, Dools. If Giddey, you take him out of today, you put him into the 90s. Obviously, they won 6, 2 3-peats. How many titles would they have won total? If you take out, say, Ron Harper, put him on the bench and then chuck in
Tell you, they would have won an earlier one in the 90s and they would have won a later one at the end of the 90s there. And as a Houston Rockets fan as well, and we broke up that dynasty, like we won 2 in the middle there, they probably would have won those two.
Even when Jordan was playing baseball for that year. Yeah. Yep. So they would have won 10.
Yep.
So 1990
they just
through
would
to
have
99.
Block out the 90s.
I don't know. It makes sense. It checks out. They could have put in his dad. He was playing in the 90s.
Get Wazza in there with his headband. Have you ever seen Warwick Giddey try and shoot a jump shot?
No. Ooh. Rough?
It is. It was hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
Cop and shade. I love that. Oh, man. My bias take of the week. I'm sure this is your bias take in the week. It's not even bias. It's just factual. Dyson Daniels is the most improved player in the NBA, and it's not even close.
Absolutely.
They've put him up against Kate Cunningham, who's just a number 1 draft pick that took forever to get good due to injuries and whatnot, which is fair enough. But yes, he jumped from good to all-star this year, but he was always supposed to be an all-star. It took him too long. If there's an award called too slow to improve player of the year, it's Kate Cunningham. If you look at the stats, sure, they've jumped up a bit, but nothing like Dyson. And also, Vaibhav Suryavansh, he's been nominated for most improved. He's just, if it was most improved player year over year for the last 5 years, absolutely. I think he's been great with incremental improvement. And yes, he's been very good this year, Dools. But Dyson came from not playing, couldn't get a game. Anytime he was in and out all the time. And then he's gone to a starter. He's averaging nearly 14 points a game. He had 100 more steals than anyone. He's had the most steals since bloody 96, Gary Payton or something. He's also going to be all-NBA first player, defensive first player, I should say. Rebounds are up. He's got 8 rebounds, he's got 7 assists, something like that. So his improvement, most improved, which is the name of the goddamn title, has to be someone that wasn't playing to now getting nominated for multiple awards for breaking records and contributing in every aspect of the game, as opposed to a couple of guys one guy that was supposed to be good anyway and another guy that's slowly gotten better over the last 8 years. Dools?
100% agree. Cade Cunningham has the ball in his hands all the time. When he's on the court, he's expected to be good. And he's got, players that are improving around him and he's injury-free. Big Zoo, he's playing with James Harden. Now, if you're a centre who plays with Harden, your numbers spike. It's been demonstrated throughout his whole career. He turned some very average centres into some very good centres at Houston.
Name him, Jules. Clint Capella?
Clint Capella.
What's he done since they've broken up? Nothing.
Exactly. All right. So, he has been good, the Big Zoo, but Dyson Daniels wasn't expected to be good. He's not playing with superstar players. Trae Young, not a superstar, and has been a record setter and a difference maker and a contributor on the other end of the court as well.
I don't know what it is, and I'm just going to take a shot at an entire country. Americans just don't understand the core of things. The award's called the most improved player.
Not the most expected improvement player.
Yeah, not the best player out of these top three, because Cade Cunningham's probably going to win this thing, and he is the best player of these 3. No one's denying that. But has he improved more than Dyson Daniels?
His improvement has been not being injured.
Yeah, exactly. So if Dyson doesn't win, we're right. Atlanta, burn the city to the ground. No, don't burn Atlanta. Burn Detroit to the ground. No one will notice. It's a bit of a shit.
And where's the NBA voters? Burn them.
Well, they're all over the place. That's the thing. You don't want journalists voting on this stuff. You want us, the Budgy smugglers. Where's our voting rights?
We'll vote well.
We'll vote.
We're media.
Dyson will win all of the awards if it was up to us.
And it would be legit.
Anyway, I don't even think that's a biased take. Normally our biased takes are a little bit more left of field and a bit more biased, but this one's just like this is just a common sense take.
Accurate take.
It's not even a take, it's just accurate reporting.
Just stating facts. Spitting facts, spitting truth bombs at y'all.
Dyson MIP, lock it in. I've got a question for you, Dools.
Yep.
This is non-Aussie. I've gone off Australia for a second, so you might not have heard of this.
Yep.
There's a 14-year-old in India. His name's Vaibhav Suryavansh. Sorry about that for Vaibhav. But he scored the second fastest IPL of all time, hitting three figures in just 35 balls, and he's 14 years old. Playing pro cricket over in India in the IPL, the highest paid cricket competition in the world, and he's going out and setting records. What were you, this is a question, what were you doing when you were 14? That's so impressive.
Oof, when I was 14, that was impressive. I mean, I was national karate champion.
Okay.
That's all right.
Hello. Look out.
Well, 14. What was I? What year are you in 14? In school, I would have been year
9.
Year 9. What was I doing in year 9? Year 9, I was learning how to shave.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I had a
pretty
mustache.
impressive.
Yeah, I had a mustache, and it was not good. It was grim looking. So I was learning how to shave, and I was putting too much hair gel in.
A lot of hair gel. Were you using Brute cologne?
No, I was a lynx man.
You were a lynx man?
Well, straight out of Africa, always.
Yeah, Africa all the way.
Is the goat lynx deodorant? Like some people went Java, but Java's a bit like, ooh, it's a bit burny.
Yeah, I think Africa's just a surefire win for any 14-year-old, I reckon.
What were you doing at 14?
I also had a bit of bum fluff. I think that would have been around the first time.
What about
I
a
shaved.
mustache? Or got a wiping issue?
I did that. By the time I was 14, I already had the Melton Primary School record for most runs in an over. You know, I don't think Vaibhav Suryavansh can claim that.
No, definitely not. I was marveling at your pronunciation of that
nailed
name.
it.
I mean, I'm trying to think how well he would go in navigating not getting bashed at Broady train station after school, because that's peak. Like where I went to school in Broadmeadows, if you're good at cricket, which is not something that was very valuable in Broadmeadows, and you're running around telling everyone, you're going to get bashed at Broady station after school. That is a sure thing.
Stay out of Broady Vaibhav. But yeah, obviously just jerking off 10 times a day. The list.
Well,
do you have a list? I put one together, but we don't have to do it if you don't. I just felt in honor of the NFL, but if you've got one.
No, I mean, we can go. Let's go with your. Let's do both lists.
Do you want to do both lists?
Yeah, we'll do yours first, and then I've got one after that.
Double list Tuesday here at the Budgy Smugglers. I thought just because of our new favourite and Jeremy Crawshaw. Was that the right one? Yeah. Yep. Jeremy Crawshaw.
Crenshaw. I kept thinking Crenshaw.
Like Crip Walkham.
Yeah.
I love that. I thought I would lay out the top 5 Aussie punters in NFL history.
Okay.
So, are
we going from 5 to 1 or 1 to 5? Or
we're going to 5 to 1.
5 of them.
5 to 1.
Okay.
So, in order.
Is Chris Bryan going to get a mention? Former Collingwood and Carlton AFL listed player?
Did he play in the NFL?
Briefly.
Well, he can have number 5 because I don't know who number 5 is.
Okay, sweet.
So,
Hello,
in
truck.
number 5 is Chris Bryan with a Y?
Yeah, with a Y.
So Chris Bryan, if you don't know, he was a former Collingwood and whatnot player. He played a few games in the AFL. I've got no stats to back up this list either. It's just vibe. Just going by vibe. Number 4, former St Kilda footballer, played in an NFL Super Bowl with the Philly Eagles. It's Aaron Sipos. There's a very familiar thread with was Chris Bryan a bit of a super boot?
Yeah, he was one of those players who would get woof yelled out when he kicked it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that. All of these players are the same. Aaron Sipos was one of my favourite players, just a long bomb left footer, kick it from the wing into sort of 30 metres out. Loved him. Didn't quite make it in AFL, but, made a good living over there for a few years. He did great. In number 3, this was tough. Number 3, number 2, it is Sav Rocker.
Oh, the battered Sav.
The battered Sav.
King of Reservoir.
He had a bit of a stint as a punter in the NFL. He obviously Collingwood and
North Melbourne champion.
Kicked a ton of goals. He's probably the best footballer, had the best football career that also played in the NFL, I think. Maybe with our next one, who was a former Geelong captain, had a very, very long, successful career in the NFL. Super boot himself. I think he holds the record for the longest kick in an AFL game ever out of the goal square. It is Benny Graham. So another good one there. And then in number one, he was the originator. He's a Pro Bowler. He did it all except for win a Super Bowl. He's the one who's sort of advocated for Aussies going over there out of the AFL. It's Darren Bennett. Rounds off. That's our top 5 Aussie punters in NFL history.
That's a good list.
Yeah.
Do you think Darren Bennett, do you think when his family came to Australia, they actually went by the surname Benet? Maybe. I don't know.
I think that's just a typo by me, by the way.
Not enough kids called Darren or Graham these days.
Yeah, or Severio.
Yeah, not a lot of Savs.
Not a lot of Savs. Do you think that'll make a comeback?
Maybe.
If
I'm surprised there wasn't more.
I was about to say, like, kids born between 95 and 2001, I thought there would be an explosion in Severios.
Yeah.
It wasn't as severe as we thought.
No, wasn't as Severio as we thought. Now,
I've got a top 5.
I've got a top
double
5.
Top 5s.
Okay, double top 5. Now, today is my birthday.
Is it?
It is.
Happy birthday, Tools. I didn't know.
Yeah, I kept that under wraps.
You did.
That's okay. So I'm going to go with my
You're
top
going to give your
5.
top 5 birthdays you've ever had.
Top 5. Oh, that's my 21st is number 1. The top 5 Aussie sporting moments of my lifetime.
Wow.
That I've seen with my own eyes and, experience. So
I love this one.
In no particular order.
Have you written these down anywhere? Or are you going off the dome?
We're just going off the top here.
It's going
no
random.
particular order. We're going to go with Stephen Bradbury winning gold.
Oh, yes.
Iconic moment.
Very iconic. That one lives in everyone's memory.
The look of confusion on his face as he crossed the line.
He still had to make the top 4.
Yeah.
So
he still had to make the final.
So I think that's a great one.
Yep. I'm going to go with the men's 4x100 relay at the Sydney Olympics when Ian Thorpe, there was a lot of talk from the Americans, Greg Hall Jr., about we're going to smash the Aussies like guitars. And as it came to the last turn, America was just in front, but Ian Thorpe was in the water, not known for being a sprinter and in swimming, and he mowed him down. The Aussies won. They're all out of the pool playing like guitars.
That. Iconic
moment. I'm going to go with, what are we at? Well, that's 2 there. I'm going to go with this was a hard one, so I'm going to group them all together.
Yeah, okay.
The Socceroos around the Germany World Cup. So we're talking about the qualifying there. So Johnny Aloisi, what a moment. That's one of those. I remember where I was, Hamilton Island. Neil Danaher, we're flipping tables, we're going off there. It was fantastic. But then the game that the Aussies won against Japan, when we were down 1-0 at the half, and Tim Cahill comes on. A couple of goals in 10 minutes. Aloisi with the icing on top there. What a moment. And then the Matildas in the World Cup, that penalty shootout, Courtney Vine.
Yep.
I was at a pub in Kerrang, and everyone in the pub just lost their minds, flipping tables. It was a fantastic moment, and then had to go and do comedy, and that was not easy because everyone was just so intense from that. So that's there. What it's at, number 3. Number 2. Okay, number 2, we're going to go with...
I like that. Sorry, before you go off number 2, I like that number 3 was 3 different things as well.
Yeah. Well, got to...
Very well played.
Got to get them in there.
It's your birthday. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly that. Now, a lot of people talk about Kathy Freeman being like, the biggest thing. I was never like a huge, I was like, oh, yeah, cool. That's great. Whatever.
I did jot that note down. You went Kathy Freeman over the 4x100, but it's your own personal thing.
Yeah. I mean, Kathy Freeman is not in this top 5.
Yeah.
Not in this.
That's fair enough. It's your own top 5.
Yeah. But I think the idea of Ash Barty, who is an elite athlete in one sport, and then like dropping out of that sport, cricket, to then play tennis and being the top of the tree, I think that's a fantastic moment in sport.
Love that.
That also isn't it, though.
That's not one?
That's not it.
Okay, great.
That's not it there. I'm going to talk about my favourite moment, Andrew Gaze and Lindsay Gaze winning the 1992, I think, or 93 championship against the Perth Wildcats, that iconic hug at the end there. And the number one Aussie sporting moment of my lifetime, when Richmond broke the drought and won the premiership 2017 against Adelaide, not only as a Richmond supporter, but also because that was when Adelaide did that power stance thing, and that was just the lamest shit I've ever seen. So, like, they're all standing there just like, ooh.
That's a great top 12 list, Jules. I love that. I will say I'm not a fan of Richmond at all. Obviously, I'm a big Saints fan. We've never had our drought breaker. But that game in particular, I remember I was at the Corner Hotel right next to the G. Everyone's behind Richmond at this stage, and that just went absolutely off when they won that. Tables were collapsing, beers in the air. It was my favourite grand final ever that I ever had.
It was a huge moment. Also, a big shout out to the women's 4x100 swimming team as well. 4 gold medals in a row. That was also a chance to go in there because it's so hard. So I swam growing up. A little bit of trivia for you, and not bad. And to maintain a gold medal standard for 4 consecutive Olympics, so difficult. So well done to them. That got in there as well.
All right. I'll try and clip that up today so we can get it out on your birthday, Jules. That's good stuff. I think we're up to the power rankings.
I mean, that was basically it then. No, that's all I've got for sport this week.
Love that. You ready for the power rankings?
Let's do it.
Oh.
Can I also throw in Zoe Goss, who I've mentioned before as well, the catch and getting out Brian Lara in that.
That's right. You did mention that one.
This is my top 20 Australian sporting moments.
You can chuck more in as I go through the power rankings if you want. Do you want to read the power rankings out? It is your birthday.
Nah, this is all you.
Yeah. All right. In number 10, I've gone with Jeremy Crawshaw in the NFL. Anytime an Aussie gets drafted to one of the big leagues across the world, I'm always going to try and fit them into the power rankings. In number 9, he's on fire. He could be higher on this, but it has been a pretty big week. I've gone with Nick Dacos of the Collingwood. Big game on Friday. He dominated. Steel side bottom got the medal, but arguably Nick had more impact with ball in hand. In number 8, after scoring a huge goal, for Liverpool, I think we landed on in the end. It was Caitlin Foord.
For Arsenal.
Fucked it again. In number 7, I know you don't like this, but I'm sticking with it. It's JDM, Jack Della Maddalena. He's a week away, Dulls. How you feeling about the fight?
I mean, I hope he gets in there. I hope he wins.
Yeah, if he doesn't, he's straight out
against the worst nickname in sport.
What was it again?
Remember the name.
And I can't even remember the
Bilal
nickname.
Muhammad.
Bilal Boring Muhammad.
You should just go with Bilal Snack Pack.
Yeah.
Just take that. That is a great nickname.
Even Guacamole Picklam, even though it's nothing to do with his name, it's not registered at the moment, so he could have that one.
Do you know what else is a great moment in sport in my list? Sam Kerr, giving it to the police. That
was good.
That's so Aussie.
That was good. The best sporting event I ever went to was Volk versus Islam in Perth. That was
just against a whole religion. Wild.
It was wild. It was great. In number 6, I've got him in there. He's nominated for 2 finals. He lost out on Defensive Player of the Year for some unknown reason. It's our boy, the boy from Bendigo, Dyson Daniels.
The Bendigo Bandit.
The Bendigo Bandit. In number 4 and 5, grouping them together, Huge week for these two. I've gone with Jack Robinson and Isabella Nichols for winning the Bells Beach Pro.
The Shaman Vortex.
The Vortex Shaman. And Isabella Nichols, you're going to look up her nickname.
Big Nick.
Big Izzy Nicky. At number 3, I think the top 3 remains unchanged. We're going to need I want to get your thoughts on this. At number 3, it's still, I think these are the 3 biggest names in Aussie sports globally. And I'd like to see if you can think of anyone debunk this, because it's the same as last week. Number 3, hey mummy, it's Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, it's Alexander Volkanovski. And in number 1, it's Oscar Piastri. Can you think of anyone that should be right now at this moment bigger in sport as an Aussie globally?
What about Matt Denny?
Sure.
He broke the world record in discus, throwing 74.78 meters. Of course, in the same comp, he didn't win because someone else then broke that record. But that's
for
a
moment.
Yeah, for a moment, he was the number 1 in the world ever at discus.
Matt Denny. I can't put him. I can't knock out Rhea Ripley for Matt Denny. Have you got anyone else?
What about Josh Giddey?
Josh Giddey, top 3.
Mm.
Do you think he's had more global impact than Rhea Ripley, who just did WrestleMania? Alexander Volkanovski, who's a GOAT, and Oscar Piastri, that you can't go anywhere without seeing his burger.
Okay, what about Nathan Walker? Do you know what his nickname is?
I don't even know what
Sky
his sport is.
Nathan Sky Walker.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
Plays
in the NHL, obviously.
Oh, okay.
For the St. Louis Blues.
I'll do some research on Nathan Skywalker, but the fact that I don't know him and obsess over sport is a ding in my book.
Okay.
That's it?
What about Aaron Gox?
Goxie
had a boxing match.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't see this.
He put the guy down on the canvas.
Did he?
Yeah.
Good on you, Goxie.
And who else? Andrew Hamilton was on the same. I don't know how these comedians were getting on this fight card. But I think, Goxie won, I think by knockout.
Great.
And it was poof. And I think the hammer got touched up a little bit. I mean, the excerpt that I saw was a lot of
that.
Yeah, a lot of jabs to the face.
Who do you think, outside of yourself, obviously, who would you least like to face in a boxing or MMA ring in the country? Aussie comedians.
Oh, Aussie comedians.
Nicky Barry?
I was going to say probably like a Bobby Sandu. He's a legit grappler.
That's probably a good call.
Yeah, probably him. There's quite a lot of Aussies comedians who do some form of martial art. A few have had amateur fights as well. There's a Perth comedian whose name escapes me at the moment who's had an amateur fight. I think he does some ring announcing for Eternal. But
okay.
I think I'd smoke them all.
Of course you would. It's your happy birthday, Dools.
Thank you.
Have you got anything on this week you want to promote?
No, I'm taking the week off, but I'll be in Sydney, Newcastle and Wollongong the week after. So there might be some tickets still available. I think there's still a bunch left for Wollongong on Sunday the 11th. I'll be up there with Jared Goundry for those shows. So Sydney's nearly sold out on Thursday the 8th. And then the 9th and 10th in Newcastle are nearly full. But Wollongong, there's still a few left. So playing at ID Comedy Club, Newcastle Comedy Club, and Side Door Theatre. So come check it out.
Very good. I've got a few gigs this week. Don't come to them. It's just going to be new material. You might be the only people there. And obviously the big ones, go get your tickets. They're live now. Ocean Reach Brewing, June 21st, and at the Union and Heathcote on June 7th. Couple of great shows. Dooley's at Ocean Reach. I'm at Heathcote with a couple other great comedians, so I've got to start flogging some tickets to those because they're going to be very, very fun shows.
Going to be great. Looking forward to it.
Cool. Birthday plans tonight?
Going to my grandparents for dinner.
Oh, nice.
And that's probably it.
Beautiful.
Just chilling out.
Well, happy birthday, Jules.
Thanks, mate.
See you later, Budgy Smugglers. Have a great day.
See ya. Bye.